everyone, coming at you from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And today I want to talk about hiring employees. How good are you at hiring employees? Many times we think, wow, we'll just put out a job notice and we'll let them know what we need and then they'll come running and we'll find that perfect person. And many times it's not that easy. And if you talk to anyone who has been hiring people for any length of time, they'll tell you that there's not an exact science to this. A lot of times it's very subjective. You know, we look for those key indicators. Do they have the qualifications to meet the job that I'm posting? Or, you know, are they personable? And a lot of times that's what we're looking for. Do they have that past experience? And how do they interact with me initially when I meet with them? And sometimes that's just not enough to be able to attract and hire those people, the right people who are going to stay around. Because let's face it, when we bring people into our organizations, we spend time and money. And time and money are key. And we don't have a lot of time or money to waste on trying to find that perfect person, to waste on the training. Depending on your organization, depending on your needs, your service, your product, what you have them doing, it could be months that it takes to train someone. And so with that being, for you to have someone where you spent 3 months with them training, and then they all of a sudden go, I really don't like it here, or they just didn't work out with your other employees or yourself. So that's important to be able to find those people. And so a couple of tips that I have on hiring is, one, when you put out your ad for your position, put a couple of steps in there that they need to follow. Meaning, let's say, for example, that in your ad, you say that you need 5 years experience, you must have a valid driver's license and transportation, and that you would like them to send you a small paragraph or a short paragraph on their experience, but do not send a resume. And then also say that email only, but then put your number there. Can they follow simple instructions? You would be amazed at how many people cannot follow simple instructions. And so when you do that, you'll be able to weed out a lot of people and never have to spend time with them. And your initial stage of weeding out people is, did they follow those specific steps in your ad? There's a reason you put them in there. Because you want those people who are able to follow orders, who are able to pay attention to details. If they can't do that in the initial step of responding to an ad, hey, that's probably not the person you want. You want someone who's attentive. You want someone who follows instructions. Regardless of how much experience they have, if they can't follow simple instructions, you probably don't need them. And so that's my first tip for you, is to put a number of steps in your ad, whether it's a Craigslist ad or wherever you're posting. And those people who did not follow those specific steps, and I'd put maybe 4 or 5 things that you want them to do. And if they miss any of those, automatically, trash can. Do not even take a second to look at them. My second tip is, when you have people who come in for an interview, I would have another set of instructions for them. And that might be that you say, I want 2 copies of your resume, a list of references, and maybe you want a sample of their work. And so that might be kind of another step for them to be able to follow. And again, see if they can follow instructions throughout the process. Are they able to do that? Another thing that I look for when people come in and sit in front of me is, I'm going to ask them, why do they want to work for me? What was it about my ad that caught their eye? Can they recall any information that I had put in the ad? Because a lot of times people will go and they will use the shotgun approach and they will apply for 10, 15, 20 jobs, and they just send out all that information. And they don't even know which job they're even applying for. That's not the person I want. I want the person that specifically wants to work for me and my company and wants to be able to do those job duties that I have listed. And so if they cannot recall anything in my ad, I'm going to thank them for their time and then send them out the door. Next is, do you have someone who's sitting in front of you who is a yes person, who seems to only tell you what they think you want to hear? That may be a key indicator that you don't want this person. So for instance, maybe you have someone who sits in front of you and they say, I will be the best employee you've ever had. I will never let you down. I never fail. I always get along with everyone. I'm great at everything I do. Well, to me, red flags are going off when they say that. I'm going to thank them for their time. I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to send them out the door. I want someone who sits in front of me and says, I'm willing to learn. I'm not perfect, but I'm willing to learn. And that, to me, is golden. If you have someone who says they're not perfect and they're willing to learn, because that takes a lot of courage to say. And that's honest. That's honest when people say that. I'm willing to listen, even if they don't have as much experience as the next person. To me, that's golden. That shows me that I can probably work with them, that they're probably going to be a great employee. And so those are my tips for you, is initially leave some steps in your ad, 3 or 4 or 5 steps that people need to follow. If they don't follow those exactly, trash can those emails. Don't even give them a second chance. In the second round, when they come in maybe for an interview, give them another list of instructions. Did they follow those to the T? If they don't, thank them for their time and send them to the door. Also, if they're sitting in front of you and they tell you what you think they want you to think, then are they a yes person and they're just blowing smoke? Thank them for their time, send them out the door. That's not who you want. Also, can they tell you anything about the ad? Can they tell you anything about your company? Did they do their research? If they can't, thank them for their time and send them out the door. So those are my tips for you today. Hope they're helpful. Take care.